Hi there guys, so in this video I wanted to show you and talk to you about the WordPress and PHP development workflow I have, and I think for me it is the best development workflow because I kind of feel at home. Whatever I want to do I can do it at the quickest, and then um, compared to the earlier setups I had, they were very janky, and most times one or the other things won't work out for me and I had to switch between all the time. So the point is, the current setup, what I'm going to show you in this video is, I think is very optimum for most developers out there who are just starting out or are already at intermediate or advanced levels and can build upon this for better dev experience. So yeah, let's get to it. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is, for a web developer, is the browser. So I use Mozilla Firefox because to me it just works out. I have, for most part, when I used to interact with other developers, they used to suggest me Chrome or basically Chrome like browsers. So why Chrome? Because the extension library, if you would have used Chrome, that the extension library is huge, and the kind of extensions you can find there is not at all available in Mozilla Firefox. So there is that downside, but to me the most extensions I need are already available here, such as I need React Developer Tools extension and this ad blocker and a few other tools to my knowledge which are best here, such as you can see here I am already using a few. So all in all, I think this works best for me and I don't need any other browser compared to Firefox. And I do have Chrome on the sites, but that is only to test when something is needed to be tested on the Chromium side of the things. All of the time, not most, but all of the time I use Firefox and it works out the very best. I'd like to note out some features that I like about Firefox. Let's open a dev site. Okay, let's open the inspector developer tools. So what I like about this Firefox is the events here. So you will see that each element in the inspector tool, if there is an event listener to it, you will see the event listener right beside it, and you'll be able to see where the source code is and then go directly to that specific line. So this, I feel like, is much better. And then the CSS features that brings with it. So the layout, the computed, I know that these are also available in Chrome, but to me, the Firefox version works just the best. When I want to just check the fonts, I can just go to the fonts and then even customize things a bit. And the layout, the flexbox grid and the box model, everything is just so well optimized. Whenever you're targeting something such as this, you can just check what is the border, what is the padding, and then you can edit it, and then the flexbox grid models are separated. So all this makes it a very worth it developer experience while building websites. So that's that. Now to the major part, because we are talking about PHP. So how do I manage my PHP servers, etc. for local development? I use a service called Laravel Valet. So you must have heard it already if you have used Laravel earlier. And Laravel Valet is, I think, only available for macOS. But yeah, I mean, you can, if you're on Windows, maybe you would need to switch to Linux if you want to use Laravel, because there's a port available called Laravel Linux, I think. Sorry, Valet Linux, and that works for Linux. But if you can use Valet, I mean, I think it is the best tool out there to just use PHP servers on your local machine. And let me just show you the basic setup I have with Laravel Valet. What it is basically, you just need to install Laravel Valet with the documentation it has available already on the Laravel side. It's very explanative, and then you can easily quick start with it. It also helps you install PHP. So let me go to my folders, and then in the sites here you can see these are all the sites served via the Laravel Valet. And all I need to do is basically create a new folder and then provide some files in it. So I already have this WordPress folder as the WordPress files, default files. What I do is basically copy and paste into this new folder I just created, and I name it anything the site address I want it to be. So maybe demo site, right? And then I'll just do that and paste everything here, the WordPress core files, and then it's ready. It's already served in now. Demo site.test. If I were to go now, you'll see that it is being served. So it's as easy as that, and you only need to follow these instructions and you will get set up with everything. So this does not only work with WordPress, it works for many PHP frameworks out there. So you can see here out of the box, Valet support includes, but is not limited to only Laravel. And you can see WordPress, Cake PHP, you can imagine most things on a server. So yeah, there's that. And you can also extend Valet with custom drivers if you think you have a PHP CMS and you don't think it's available in this. So there's that. Thirdly, what Valet has, there's this other service I use that complements Valet so well is this PHP Mon. I'm just going to open the PHP Mon page. PHP Mon Monitor, I think in this count. PHP Monitor, yes, there it is, PHP Monitor. So this is an individual project, I think, by Nico Verbruggen. I know him from Twitter, and it's a very good tool. I think it's only available for macOS right now. Yeah, so most things will only be available for macOS in this tutorial because I think, yeah, these are mostly Mac-oriented tools. I will recommend using a Mac or Linux device because most development workflows on PHP are very Linux based oriented. Let's take a look at this PHP Monitor. Here I have PHP Monitor running. Let me just open this view domains list. So you saw here that there's this menu bar available at the top, and then this gives you a lot of tools already here. And it's very easy to switch between multiple versions of PHP. So there's that, and I do use them very often because sometimes I'm working on PHP 8 and sometimes I'm also working on 7.4 for, backwards compatibility for WordPress plugins, etc. And then this view domains list, it helps me check which version I am running right now on that website, the PHP version, and I can also isolate versions for separate sites and then have one version running for all sites or one separate version, specific version running for a specific site. So there's that, and with this I can easily say, so the one I just created, the site that must be available by now here, demo site. Let's refresh this. Here it is. Okay. So now you can say switch PHP version to something else such as 7.4 and it will do that. So it's very fast, and the faster your development workflow is, the faster you will be in terms of your the whole developer experience. And you can also include SSL certificates for local sites so that, if you're using some service and then it requires your site to be SSL encrypted, that you can do as well. So, this is a very rare case, but yeah, you can do so just so that it is available here. You just click on right click and then select secure domain and that will do it. So there's that. And as I just showed you how easy it is to switch between PHP versions here, and it also gives you the PHP configuration details, and it also helps you in updating Composer files. So that is one thing, because Composer, as you know, if you're using PHP, Composer is your friend, such as you have JavaScript, NPM in JavaScript. So Composer is your friend, and you would, when you are switching between PHP versions and you have a global Composer running, you might need to update those Composer packages. But what this does is automatically does it for you when switching between PHP versions. So that's a good thing. Just so that you can update your global Composer dependencies if it's not already here from here, right? So moving aside, the third thing I want to talk about is the database manager, because with all these things there comes the need of the database. So how do I manage the database? I use a service called DBngin. By the way, all these services are free, so you won't need to pay a penny to use them. So there's that. This DBngin is also a free tool and it is available for Mac. I think it's only available for Mac again. And let me just show you how that works. It is a very easy to spin up a database app. I see I have this MySQL 8 running, and you can just create a new database like this, maybe MySQL, Postgres, and Redis. So yeah, it's very easy. Once you have that running, you know what to do. You can easily look out on how to add that configuration to your specific CMS. So you'll have all the address details, etc. here. So I can just quit that. And another tool I use to interact with the DB, it's a GUI tool. It's called TablePlus, and I'm going to show you how that works. TablePlus again is a free tool, but this is also available for other operating systems such as Windows. And this is also available for some reason iOS and iPadOS. But damn. Anyways, the point is it's a very intuitive graphics interface for database management. I'm just gonna open TablePlus for you. So let me just open this local DB I have here. As you can see, here it is. So let me just open this, and you can see here how intuitive this is. It's very easy. You can easily modify things. You can run queries from here and do all sorts of things you can think of in WordPress or basically in PHP. Basically not PHP, which is in your database. So this is a very intuitive tool and it's free. So that's amazing. Let me just open up my notes here quickly. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is the Git tool I use. That is GitKraken. I recently switched to GitKraken from Git Tower because Git Tower was a paid Git UI, but I wasn't very fond of it. The thing was, it was very expensive for me living in India, and the kind of cost it would put on me for just this. And there's already free tools such as GitKraken, and I was really excited about using this GitKraken. So I thought to give it a try, but then I realized I really don't need to pay that extra money to Tower, and then I can just easily switch to GitKraken. So I did so, and honestly, I never feel a thing. In fact, it feels much more smoother and faster, and helps me manage multiple tabs of Git repositories. So that wasn't available in Git Tower, and it also has a few other features such as this folder, etc. I can look into all the repositories I have. The whole UI is very customizable. For a developer experience, I think this is much better than Git Tower, and it's free. So there's that. It brings all the good stuff of a Git GUI client. So you may want to check that out. So go ahead and download it. It's also available for Windows, I think, and all the other operating systems. So this is that for the Git client. Let's take a look at the notes. Oh yeah, so the code editors, because where you will write the code with all this. So I use PhpStorm. Let me open this for you. PhpStorm. So PhpStorm is an IDE by JetBrains, and this is a paid IDE, and I think there's a community version available for free, but I don't remember that it is available right as well, because I switched to the paid version. So I use the paid version, and it is by far the best IDE out there for PHP, and I use it for almost all of my projects. I even sometimes use it for my web projects such as JavaScript projects as well, because it just feels so homely, because I'm so used to PhpStorm. And I know there are other tools by JetBrains such as WebStorm for JavaScript stuff, but PhpStorm is the one thing that just works for me. And this is how PhpStorm looks like. Unlike VS Code extensions, it is the extension library this has. So by the way, in this, extensions are not extensions, it's called plugins. So there's that. And the marketplace is very saturated, and you will see all the plugins here are very well managed, and only the stuff you will need, not so janky like what VS Code extension marketplace is. It's full of rubbish. You can't find a good plugin, or you will be confused between many extensions in the VS Code library, and most times you will be bombarded with all these, and then you will not even be sure which one works and which one doesn't. So there's that. So yeah, you may give this a try. So, but this is a paid tool, so yeah, you might need to check that whether the community version is still available. So PHP development is way easier in this. You can easily select between your PHP language level and the clean interpreter, and then the code will IntelliSense will work with that version and will automatically suggest if you are doing something wrong and anything that isn't according to the PHP spec. You can also set up quality tools such as PHP Code Sniffer and CS Fixer, Code Beautifier and Formatter, etc. I have already made a video on top of this. I will link that down in the video description, so you can check that out on how to set up any coding standards on these code editors such as PhpStorm and VS Code. So there's that. So let me just quickly did that. So here's a basic tab open. I have this plugin open, and this is how it looks. It also has themes, and this Dracula theme I think enabled. I don't remember which one, but this looks very good for me, and I use this. I will link that in the video description, the theme I'm using. Alright, so let's switch to our browser. Just close this. Do remember that this is a very memory hungry IDE, so you might need to have more than 8 GB, I think, for PhpStorm to run properly. So moving on to the next IDE I want to talk about is VS Code, of course, because most of the developers out there are using Visual Studio Code. It's a very lightweight code editor, and again with the lightweight thing, it brings the need of extension heavy workflows, because most times you will not have the tool you will need to use with that editor, and then you'll have to install it separately. So ultimately that will become expensive in terms of processing when you are using it for multiple development workflows. So I only use it for JavaScript, and because it is already made on Chromium, the Electron app, it is mostly for JavaScript stuff. It already has everything, so I only use a few linting and formatting tools, etc. So let me just open Visual Studio Code, and I mostly use it for JavaScript apps such as React or Next.js projects. So you can see I have this smalltowndev.com site open. I think this is made on Next.js as far as I remember, and this is the extensions I am using right now. You can see Babel, Composer. Yeah, I have Composer installed as well. But yeah, I mean, I'm not using it for PHP because, as you saw, PhpStorm is great and it does everything. Meanwhile, when I get to use this, I am always reminded of how I need to add things separately whenever I want them, and PhpStorm just walks out of the box. So there's that. This is that. I think this is it for VS Code, because a few other things I think I would like to add here is VS Code also brings the Git UI. I think a basic Git UI from where you can use these Git modules, Git repositories, and there's some debuggers, etc. And this is also available in PhpStorm, by the way. But PhpStorm goes into links to provide you features with most of the things you would need. So yeah, I will again link the theme if you are interested in using the theme I have in the video description, so you can use that. I'm just gonna quit this. I think that's it. Let me open my notes. Okay, yeah, so one more thing, that is, I think if you are a developer who designs yourself for the projects you are doing, such as if you are an indie developer or a indie creator, you will need a design tool as well. So for that, you must be aware of Figma. So I use Figma. I don't use this web version, but most times I'm using this app because for some reason I feel much better using this one, and it already have installed on your computer. So this works directly with that web versus the web version doesn't. So there's that. And I use this for most of the stuff I create in terms of design, whether it's a UI or a logo or anything I quickly want to spin up in terms of design. I just use this, whether even the thumbnails you can see here, everything. So this is that. This is basically my PHP and WordPress development workflow. And if you think I'm missing out something and you'd like to suggest something, feel free to comment that, and I'll definitely check that out. If you like this video and think that it is worth watching for others as well, please do like and hit that subscribe button, because that will help me grow this channel and maybe reach out to more awesome people like you. Thank you so much. Have a great day.